Today I've got some speed colour glazing to share with you. Hi, it's Therese from Lostinpaper, and I've got the new Iris. It's the painter flower set from Altenew, and I'm going to be doing some watercolour glazing today. Speed colouring style. I'm using my new mat from Altenew, and the grid lines here are really helpful, as well as the template that I can sit my piece of cardstock in. So this is a watercolour cardstock cut the same as my card front, and I'm die cutting a window with the rounded rectangles die set. Because I want to do some highlight colouring, I'm only going to colour the window section here today using the artist watercolours. So I'm just going to set the rest of the panel aside for the moment. And basically what glazing means is to add layers of watercolour. It's really easy to do. You do need to allow the watercolour to dry in between adding the layers, and that way, you know, a lot of the watercolours have some transparency to them, so you are going to see a bit of all the different colours come through each layer. So I'm initially using the wet on wet technique here to add my base layer, so adding some clear water to my petals, and one petal at a time, and try not to work next to other areas that are going to be wet either, and then I can just drop my colour in and let the colour move. These are some beautiful bright blues that I'm using here today, and I do use a couple of the different colours to add some depth, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want this to look too flat. So glazing is a really awesome technique to add that depth and shading to an image. But once you have the base layer dry and you add your second layers, they just can give you some sharper edges. If you don't want the sharper edges, then you can actually come in with another brush and blend them out as well. The thing to be careful of though is when you are adding the second layer of colour, or the third or the fourth, whichever, then you do need to be aware not to overwork it, because it's actually going to reactivate the watercolour colour underneath, and then it's actually going to be mixing with that colour, and you're not going to get that sort of transparency layered look. So this technique, or all these techniques with watercolour, are really new to me, so I'm learning, and I hope that you're learning with me along the way. And these paints are so beautiful to colour with. This is their artist grade watercolours, and I find they blend beautifully. So I did only really add 2 layers of blue to each petal, and that has created a bit of depth here, and I added a little bit more water to some areas, and some areas I actually used quite a dry brush. And then I did colour the background, and I mixed some white paint here with some of the seashore, and I thought that was a really pretty blue-green. I wasn't really happy with the shading totally on the flowers, so I did come in with a little bit of black here, and my brush is fairly dry while I'm adding those shadows, and not much either. I couldn't help myself. I had to add some splatters, so I've got a couple of different colours that I used. It was the ocean waves and the jet black. Now I find the metallic splats take quite a while to dry, so you either need to leave them overnight or hit them with a heat tool. So now it's time to assemble my card. I'm placing the window on the front of my card first. It's a side fold portrait card, and then I'm actually adding my foam directly to the hole here because of those splatters that I was telling you about that have a tendency to take a long time to dry. I didn't want to flip my cardstock over and then smudge them, and I've had this happen to me before. It's very frustrating, so that just stopped that from happening. My sentiment is heat embossed on some black cardstock, and it's from the Flower Vine stamp set, and I just thought a nice little sentiment would stand out beautifully. So this is part of a hop today, so head to my blog and you can get all the details there, as well as see all the supplies I've used. Please click on the thumbs up button if you like this video, and subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you here again real soon. Till then, happy paper crafting. Bye.